afternoon and welcome to your 4 to 5. I'm Maddie Gardner here with Deja Moise and Eric Chilton, who are both working from home this afternoon. As always, the 4 to 5 is an interactive news show. We are here to inform you, make you feel connected, and let you into our world. Join our live streams today and our conversations and use our hashtag 4 to 5. The top story of the day, President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump have been diagnosed with coronavirus. The president confirmed the news in a tweet overnight. That news came hours after the president confirmed that one of his closest aides, Hope Hicks, had tested positive for coronavirus. Hicks had traveled with the president to several events this week, including the presidential debate on Tuesday and to his rally in Minnesota on Wednesday. She started experiencing symptoms on Wednesday, and the AP reports that she isolated herself on board Air Force One as they returned from Minnesota. President Trump then attended a fundraiser in New Jersey on Thursday, reportedly spending time in close contact with a number of his supporters. The White House has canceled all of the president's public appearances for today. The first couple will quarantine in the White House. So far, multiple people who have come in contact with the president and the First Lady have been tested. Republican National Convention Chairwoman Ronna McDaniel has also tested positive. Trump's 14-year-old son Barron and daughter Ivanka tested negative, as have Vice President and Second Lady Mike and Karen Pence. Democratic nominee Joe Biden and his wife Jill also tested negative, and Supreme Court Justice nominee Amy Coney Barrett tested negative. President Trump is 74 years old. The CDC says his age puts him at a higher risk of developing severe COVID-19 related illness. So far, sources say President Trump is only experiencing mild symptoms. But Wake Forest Baptist Health infectious disease specialist Dr. Christopher Ohl says that is common for people who are Trump's age.
COVID's a serious infection in elderly persons. The first few days, the symptoms are usually mild to moderate. And it's not until day 6, 7, 8, or 9 when the more severe infections usually occur.
Now, with that in mind, many of you are asking what happens if the president cannot perform his duties, and what happens with the next scheduled debate? Well, our Verify team has the answers.
Our first question is, what happens if COVID-19 forces the president to drop out of the 2020 election? Our sources for this are an elections expert, John Fortier with the Bipartisan Policy Center, and the Republican National Committee's rules. After speaking with Fortier and going over the RNC's rules, we can verify at this point if the president were to drop out of the race, the RNC would decide who the Republican nominee is. Also, don't forget, this isn't the first time a world leader has contracted the coronavirus. Jair Bolsonaro, the Brazilian president, and Boris Johnson, Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, both contracted COVID-19 and eventually recovered. Next question. If President Trump gets too sick, would Mike Pence take over? Our sources for this are the 25th Amendment to the Constitution and the George W. Bush Presidential Archives. Right off the bat, yes, Vice President Mike Pence would take over temporarily if the president got too sick. This goes back to the 25th Amendment to the Constitution, which basically says that if the president feels they can't discharge their duties as president temporarily, they can turn them over to the vice president, and when they feel they are ready to take them back over, they can resume control of the presidency. The last time this happened was during the George W. Bush presidency. Twice while President Bush got a colonoscopy, Vice President Dick Cheney took presidential powers over until President Bush came out of the procedures. Final question, the president has to quarantine, so will he miss the next presidential debate? The CDC recommends 14 days of quarantine from COVID-19, and the next debate is scheduled for October 15th. So based on the timing, that would put the next debate at 13 days from right now. So we'll have to mark this one as a question mark as to whether or not the president will take part in the next presidential debate.
Of course, people have been sending their well wishes for the president and the First Lady all day. The presidential political rival, Democratic nominee Joe Biden, tweeted, "Jill and I send our thoughts to President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump for a swift recovery. We will continue to pray for the health and safety of the president and his family." Senator Tom Tillis says, "President Trump is a fighter, and I'm praying for a full and speedy recovery for him and First Lady." His competitor, Cal Cunningham, said, "My thoughts are with the president and First Lady as we wish them a complete and speedy recovery from COVID-19. This virus can affect any of us. We need to stay vigilant and continue to look out for one another." Representative Mark Walker said, "Praying for a quick and full recovery for the both of you." New at 4 o'clock, two more Guilford County schools have reported employees who tested positive for COVID-19. The district says Murphy and Faulkner elementary schools are closed for deep cleanings. There was one positive case at each school. Southern and Wiley were closed for cleanings but have reopened. Vandalia and Washington Montessori also reopened today. GCS plans to welcome its youngest students back to the classroom starting on October 20th. If parents don't feel comfortable sending their students back, they can enroll them in the district's virtual academies. But remember, that deadline is tonight at 5, so you have less than an hour. Coming up in about 6 minutes, we answer some of the frequently asked virtual academy questions. GCS also announced it will be closing its elementary and middle school internet hubs and learning centers. The internet hubs and learning centers were opened in schools in neighborhoods with poor internet connectivity to give students the chance to use school internet and technology to complete their assignments. But they need to get the elementary and middle schools ready for students to come back to class. So the elementary and middle school hubs will close October 9th and 10th. The high school hubs will stay open through January. Winston-Salem Forsyth County school students will return to the classroom part of the week. Last night, the school board approved a Plan B reentry schedule. This means elementary students return later this month and middle schoolers next month, high schoolers in January. We have more information on the plan on WFMYnews2.com.
The other big story happening today, North Carolina is less than an hour away from entering phase 3 of reopening. This will ease restrictions at movie theaters, amusement parks, bars, and on mass gatherings. The 11 p.m. alcohol curfew and mask mandate are both still in effect. Phase 3 is set to end on Friday, October 23rd, and it is unclear what will come after that.
All right, it's time for your 4 to 5 roundup right now. 20 hours of recordings from the grand jury proceedings of the Breonna Taylor case are now public. Those proceedings are usually kept secret, but activists and Taylor's family wanted to hear what happened, calling for transparency. Last week, the jury decided not to charge any police officers in Louisville directly with Taylor's death. It was later revealed that the Kentucky State Attorney General did not recommend murder charges. Researchers are dispelling a false claim that face masks are linked to carbon dioxide poisoning. A study from the American Thoracic Society examined oxygen and CO2 levels before and while wearing a mask. They found the effects were minimal at most, even for those with severe lung problems. Study participants wore masks for 30 minutes and then walked 6 minutes still wearing their face coverings. Researchers then studied their blood and found no differences in levels of oxygen or carbon dioxide in their systems. In fact, experts say people with underlying breathing problems like COPD may be best served by wearing masks. The Ronalda House Museum is now open to members. It will open to guests on October 6th. The art museum inside of R.J. and Catherine Reynolds' 1917 mansion had been closed because of the pandemic. They've implemented a new reduced capacity and timed reservations. You can reserve a time on their website. And the pandemic isn't stopping the Carolina Classic Fair. The fair is hosting a drive-through where you can pick up your favorite fair foods, buy merchandise, and even play games. There is no entry fee, but you are asked to bring 5 canned food items. It's open until 7 tonight and runs through the weekend. And then tonight and tomorrow at 7:05 and 9:15, you can catch fireworks in a drive-in movie. There is an admission fee for those events.
Audio dropped out, so they went to break.
Welcome back to your 4 to 5. All school work in the Guilford County District is being done online at the moment, but later this month, some students will head back to classrooms if our key coronavirus numbers remain low. If parents aren't ready to send their kids back, they can enroll them in the GCS virtual academies, but the deadline to do that is less than an hour away. So we want to answer some of the biggest questions that many of you have about those virtual academies. First, what are they? Guilford County launched 2 free online-only schools for the year. One is for K through 5. It's called the Guilford E-Learning Virtual Academy. The other for grades 6 through 8, called Guilford E-Learning University Prep. High schoolers still have the option to learn online through their individual schools, and they aren't slated to go back to classrooms until January. So what do students learn? Well, the virtual academies teach the same curriculum kids learn in school buildings, and they'll take the same test at the end of the year. The difference is it's all online, so they have some flexibility to get that schoolwork in whenever they can. It's anywhere from 15 to 30 hours of work each week. But what if your child is at another point in the school year than the academy and you still want to enroll them? I asked a teacher today.
Theoretically, since we all use the same resources, a child should be receiving the exact same math instruction that my children are receiving, which is the beauty of having a common curriculum.
All right, how many kids does each teacher have? Another commonly asked question. Right now, the district says more than 7,000 students are enrolled in both academies, and there are 180 teachers. The teachers I spoke to today say they will have at most 15 kids in a group at one time, so they are able to focus on the needs of each student. Still, some parents are worried. Lindsay Ingram, another teacher with the virtual academy, wants to put those fears to rest.
One thing that's been thrown around a lot about the virtual school is building this plane as we fly it. But we don't see it as that. I believe we are jets and we are taking off into the future of education. And every day we are soaring higher and higher. And so that's what we want to instill in our children, like, let's go get it, you know.
Remember, you have to register for the academies, and the deadline is today at 5 o'clock. Only 45 minutes left. You can find all that information on the district's website. By the way, once your student is in the virtual academy, they cannot transfer out until the end of the semester or the end of the school year. The 4 to 5 is coming right back. Stick around.
I can. Check 1 2 3 1 2 3 4. Hello. You know, as restrictions ease, there are more and more events that we can check out in person, even though it is in small numbers. We know that. The Winston-Salem Symphony is planning a hybrid concert. This is happening next week, some virtual, some in person. But they're excited about this. I spoke with assistant conductor Karen Nevrin about this event. Well, Karen, I know this is exciting for you guys. I mean, finally, at least a little bit of an audience coming back. Let's talk about the Winston-Salem Symphony and kind of the half step back to a full audience. What's going to happen in the next concert?
It's so exciting. We're live. We're with a live audience. It's also going to be live streamed. So kind of hybrid, I guess. But most important for us, we've got an audience. We've got two fantastic musicians, our principal cellist, Brooks Whitehouse, and our principal double bassist, Paul Sharp, with us in their comedic duo, Low and Lower. And the event is called Limoncello because 2020 gave us lemons.
Let's talk a little bit about the feeling with you guys, because finally, I know this is partially virtual, partially live, but to have any audience at all must be a thrill for musicians and conductors.
Music is such a special art form, and the audience is a big part of that. So being able to have that live energy means so much to us, and just to have that feeling. It's like Christmas, right? It's like Christmas Eve. That's what Wednesday night's going to feel like for Thursday.
From a performance standpoint, when you know that you might actually be reaching a lot more virtually than you are in person, how do musicians and conductors handle that? What's the thought process?
It's been an incredible process, really. One of our online events, Etherbound, reached 200,000 people this year, which was just incredible. So in our development, we have this really cool thing called Stage Pass, which will allow our subscribers to reach us online at all of live streamed events. So following our events at Sika, we've got our Classics 1 and 2 and 3 this fall, which obviously would normally be attended in person, but this time we get 26 of our amazing musicians on stage, and people from all over the world, including my parents, can stream in and see what's happening.
That's awesome. Even the parents from Ireland are going to be there. Awesome. But listen, thank you so much for this. We can all watch, whether you have an in-person ticket or not. We appreciate your time. So if you want tickets to this, you can get the link in this story. It's right on WFMYnews2.com. We've got all the information there for you.
The Carolina Panthers also welcome back fans this weekend. Now, to try to keep Bank of America Stadium free of any coronavirus, the Panthers have deployed 3 germ-killing robots. They use UV lights to render the virus useless in just 3 minutes. So the team turned to fans to name the robots. They gave them options ranging from Ted E. and Trey Botson to Sir Perel and Perbot. In the end, the winners were Agent 89 and Luke Cleanly. Both names are shout-outs, of course, to former Panthers Steve Smith and Luke Kuechly. No word on the name for the third robot, but I like Perbot. I think that would be a good one, and a nod to the mascot who's there through and through.
Nothing beats Sir Purell. That's the best. That's what I'm going to call him, no matter what they end up naming him.
I liked Trey Botson.
They're all good. They're all good.
Not bad.
I missed the memo on where you could vote.
I know. Let me tell you, the Panthers social media team is one of the best in the business. Like, I want them to take over all of my social media pages because they're hilarious. They always come up with great things to say, and if there's an opportunity, they run with it, just like they've done in this situation.
Now the question is there going to be a video of them reading the names, and then one player is going to be confused because maybe it has to do with the mascot? Remember that video?
What's that bear doing? I will never forget that video. That bear just happens to be
Perfect. I love it.
Sir Purr, or Sir Perel in this case. All right, let's hear it. What do you think that the Panthers cleaning robot should be named? Join the conversation on Facebook. Use our hashtag 4to5. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the 4 to 5. It is Friday, so we want to spread some good news. For me, going home makes me smile. I consider both Mount Airy home because it's where I grew up, but I also consider Chapel Hill, where I went to college, home. So I asked you on my Facebook page today, what do you love most about going home? And here's what you had to say. We'll start with Courtney Kiley, who says her favorite part is her mom's cooking. Randall says, I consider home to be the barn I grew up riding at. I spent more time there than home during the summer. The smell of the horses, the hay, and the shavings, even the manure, she says, just brings back so many fun memories. Adrian Saul says, I consider home my parents' house. I love it when my mom warms up a blanket in the dryer and wraps me up. I'm an adult and she still does it, even if I look slightly cold. Moms are the best. Janet says, always great to get to the comfort of my home after a trip or a long day. There is no place like home. Home is where the heart is. She is absolutely right. There is no place like home. You know, I look forward to different things when I go different places. When I go to Mount Airy, I look forward to the nostalgia, reminiscing on childhood memories. When I go to Chapel Hill, I definitely look forward to hitting up my favorite restaurants and seeing my favorite sites on campus.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, for me,
totally
since Maddie and I are
understand.
basically the...
Go ahead, Eric.
Oh, sorry. I interrupted. So basically, when I head back to Mount Airy, since Maddie and I basically have the same experience, it is Mount Airy and Chapel Hill for me too. So Mount Airy would be, I have to drive by my childhood home, which we sold, so we don't own it anymore, but I always go by there to see that, and then I always get something to eat at Snappy Lunch, of course. And then going to Chapel Hill, it is by my old fraternity house and anywhere on Franklin Street, period.
We have the same life.
Yeah, you two are basically the same person. Home for me is also Mount Airy and Chapel Hill. No, I'm just kidding. Home for me is Boston, and going home, of course, is just having Haitian food. There isn't a lot of it here in the Carolinas, and of course, the best to me is my mother's cooking. So coincidentally, home is coming to North Carolina. My mom is coming tomorrow. So I'm really excited, although I don't think it's right to make her cook if she's coming to visit me. So I'll see if maybe I can wrangle something out of her.
Yeah, or maybe you can just propose the idea of cooking together.
There we
go with that.
I like that.
And then just conveniently end up sitting at the counter
perfect.
While she cooks.
That is the perfect idea. All right, let's talk about a forecast, shall we? Because we've got some changes coming up, and it's all for the better. In fact, the extended forecast, we'll get to that in a second, but it looks great really for a week. We've got good weather, a little bit chilly heading into the weekend, I'll tell you that. The radar and satellite combination all clear. Even if we go out to a big wide shot of the southeastern part of the United States, you have to go all the way down to the Bay Area and Tampa, and then south all the way to Miami to see some rain. Most of us will be rain-free on much of the East Coast, at least the mid-Atlantic states and into the south. You see the high pressure there and the low pressure to the north. The winds around both of those systems funneling everything down over us as far as cooler air goes. So that's why we stay cool for a couple of days. Now, in the long-range forecast, you will notice that we'll start this gradual warming trend. It takes a few days for that to happen, but we're looking at 60s and 40s for highs and lows as we head through our weekend, and then next week we'll be able to warm things up a little bit as the systems move off in another direction. Couple of points for you this weekend. Chilly in the morning on Saturday, but lots of sun and 67. Sunday it's 45 for a morning low, and then 68. It'll be very nice with fall weather. Next week you can see we're warming back to the 70s again for most of next week. Hardly a rain chance except for Monday, a slight 20%.
Mic check, mic check. Maddie's doing a mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Mic check, mic check. 1, 2, 3. Cool deal.
Hey, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together.
Yes, I can. Would you like to have a mic check? Mic check 1, 2. I wish I did not wear jeans because it's hotter than I thought it would be. Mic check 1, 2. Wake Forest allowing.
Hey, buddy, check, check, check. I hear the one and only Luke Liddon, ladies and gentlemen. Round of applause. Check, check.
Yes, hello. Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Mic check.
Welcome back to your 4 to 5. I'm Maddie Gardner here with Deja Moise and Eric Chilton this afternoon. As always, we are here to inform you, make you feel connected, and let you into our world. We want to hear from you. Join our live streams this afternoon on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, and use our hashtag 4 to 5 to stay connected. Well, our state is now about 30 minutes away from entering phase 3. Earlier this week, Governor Roy Cooper announced plans for our state to move into the next phase of what they call the safer at home restrictions. This will ease limits at movie theaters, amusement parks, bars, and mass gatherings. That 11 p.m. alcohol curfew and mask mandate are both still in effect. Phase 3 is slated to end on Friday, October 23rd, but it is unclear what will come next.
Phase 3 also applies to large outdoor events like football games. And tonight, fans will be back in the stands to see the Wake Forest Demon Deacons take on the Campbell University Fighting Camels. WFMY News 2's Luke Liddon is live in Winston-Salem, where those gates just opened.
Hey there, Tahisha. Happy Friday, and it's also a very exciting day for Wake Forest fans. Like you mentioned, they will be able to come to the stadium to watch Wake take on Campbell a little bit later this evening at 7 o'clock. Of course, it is a limited amount of fans, but something I mentioned yesterday, the Panthers also, Carolina Panthers that is, allowing fans to watch their games in person for the first time all season. And with all this news coming down, it's just great to get a sense of normalcy, at least in the world of college and professional sports. It's been a long 6 months, right? It surely has. Now, to be exact, in terms of who will be able to come to tonight's game, the fans will consist of family members of the players and staff, 2,200 to be exact, and also some Wake Forest students will be included in that mix. I think the positive step is that the stadium will not look like this tonight, completely empty, and the Deacs were able to avoid having 2 straight weeks without an opponent due to COVID-19.
Guys are excited to play. It's been 2 weeks since they've played. You know, and at the same time, you watch the film on Campbell, and you know, you say it's an FCS team, and I say it's a full scholarship team. Now that we're playing football and we're practicing again, you would expect the quality of football to get better.
Kickoff is set for 7 p.m. in the next 2.5 hours or so. We believe the fans will be coming around the corner in the next hour, a couple hours as well. And we, of course, have all your highlights coming your way later tonight right here on WFMY News 2 at 11. But hey, some fans are better than no fans, right? And it's better than artificial crowd noise, so it'll be interesting and kind of exciting to hear some actual fans cheering for tonight's game and what we hope will be many, many Wake Forest touchdowns.
See someone with their cutout. I think that would be cool at the game. Well, the Panthers also welcome fans back to the stadium. The team will be able to have just over 5,000 fans in the stadium as they play the Arizona Cardinals on Sunday. And of course, we'll have full coverage Sunday night right here on WFMY News 2, your home of the Carolina Panthers.
President Donald Trump is isolating in the White House after testing positive for the coronavirus. And we now know that all of the president's campaign events will be virtual or postponed. Trump announced the diagnosis on his Twitter page overnight, and the tweet has already become the most liked and retweeted presidential tweet of all time. The White House Chief of Staff says the president and First Lady both have mild symptoms and are still working while they isolate. The White House's physician's office is now conducting contact tracing, but it is still unclear how many people may have been exposed. Vice President Mike Pence and Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden both tested negative this morning. Let's take a look now at your 4 to 5 roundup, and this just in. The Guilford County Sheriff's Office says they've arrested 2 juveniles in connection with the attempted shooting of a High Point police officer earlier this week. The Sheriff's Office did not say where or how they caught them, but say that both juveniles are in the juvenile detention centers in other counties. Federal, state, and local officials raided 6 illegal casinos in Randolph County yesterday, and they seized gambling items, cash, illegal drugs, and guns. The 6 locations were in Ashboro, Archdale, Randleman, Liberty, and Ramsor. The Sheriff's Department says the investigation is ongoing and felony criminal charges are coming. A new High Point University poll found registered voters here in North Carolina give President Donald Trump an approval rating of 44%, with half of them saying they disapprove of the job the president is doing. A little bit closer to home, 47% of voters approved of Governor Roy Cooper, while 41% said they did not. But most, 72% of people, said they think the country is pretty seriously off on the wrong track. Only 22% of people thought we were heading in the right direction. Joe Biden is now nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. A member of the UK Parliament nominated him for not resorting to violent solutions and using positive speech. President Donald Trump received a nomination in September. The winner will be announced on October 9th.
We are about 4 weeks away from Election Day, and you now have 25 days to request an absentee ballot if you don't plan on going to the polls in person this year. The State Board of Elections says of the state's 7 million registered voters, over 1 million have requested absentee ballots. 319,000 have already cast their absentee ballots. And as Election Day approaches, there is now a frantic effort nationwide to recruit a new generation of poll workers. They're needed to replace some of the older poll workers who are stepping back due to COVID-19 health concerns. CBS News' Major Garrett has the details.
The Catawba County Library in Newton, North Carolina has been poll worker B. Cheryl's Election Day home for more than a decade. But you will not be doing that this year.
No, I will not, to my sorrow.
Cheryl's age and underlying health conditions make her vulnerable to coronavirus.
I decided that my doctor would have a voice in it. When I raised the question with him, his face immediately said no.
How sad does this make you?
I've shed many a tear. It's the people. I miss the people.
Across the country, election administrators are racing to recruit enough people to staff voting precincts in a pandemic. According to a 2018 study, more than half of poll workers are 61 or older, putting many in an age group susceptible to the virus.
The bare minimum that we need is 37,000 just to open the polls on Election Day.
Frank LaRose is Ohio's Secretary of State.
We wanted to have that 50% extra as a reserve force in case there's a resurgence in the virus or folks that choose not to show up on November 3rd. And so really what our target is 55,000.
That's meant creative recruiting tactics like allowing 17-year-old high school seniors to serve as poll workers, encouraging businesses to give employees Election Day off, and incentivizing charitable organizations to pitch in.
We got an opportunity.
There have been no shortage of national appeals.
We got to keep showing up at the polls, not just to cast our own vote, but to make sure that others can too.
And former President Obama joined the cause this week,
next to Shaq,
adding his voice to a poll worker registration drive led by NBA royalty.
Democracy doesn't work if just a few people do it.
One of the silver linings to this whole pandemic experience as it relates to elections administration is this will be the year that we recruited that whole new generation of poll workers.
Among that new generation is Abby Lublin, a first-time poll worker in Durham, North Carolina.
And if we can't staff the polls, it's too easy of an excuse to close them. so I don't want to give any excuse for voter suppression.
Like many poll workers this year, Lublin is taking training classes online, and she'll serve at this precinct on Duke's campus during early voting and at this elementary school on Election Day.
I am doing it because we need to, and also because I can. I am incredibly lucky, incredibly privileged that I can do this, and I think it's a time where we figure out whatever our capacity is and do whatever we can.
So here are the key dates you need to remember. October 9th is the deadline for you to register to vote, unless you're going to register at a one-stop early voting location. One-stop early voting starts on October 15th. October 27th is the last day to request an absentee ballot. And of course, Election Day is Tuesday, November 3rd.
It is very fall-like, that's for sure, when you look outside with temperatures 67 in the Triad, at least at the airport where our official records are kept. Raleigh at 66, Fayetteville 72. We bump it up to 73 and 74 for Myrtle Beach, the Grand Strand, and up to Wilmington. Our planning forecast for Saturday, you will start the day a little chilly in the mid-40s. All clear, though, lots of sun. 62 by midday with a high of 67. And overall, we're fairly clear. The satellite and radar combo, you're not seeing a whole lot. We have a big ridge of high pressure that's in control for us. Now, that coupled with a low pressure to the north and east funnels all that cooler air down our way, and that's why we see 60s and 40s, kind of mid-60s, mid-40s for both days heading into the weekend, and really into next week we'll start to warm it up, but it's a chilly weekend. Sunshine mid to upper 60s for highs. We keep that into Monday with only a very slight chance of a shower, and then low 70s for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, sunny to partly cloudy. Friday, really nice, cool again, very fall-like at 67.
Here is the question. How picky of an eater are you? Enough that if you don't like something that you're going to take it off your plate? Eric Chilton?
No, I'm not picky at all. I'll eat everything and anything. I'll even try stuff that I've never tried before, and a lot of people aren't into that.
I wonder what his kids will do. We're going to ask him after that. Okay, Maddie, what about you? How picky are you?
You know what? I'm pretty much the same as Eric. Really, the only thing I don't love is arugula.
Because it's peppery.
Yeah, it's
kind of hot.
spicy.
Okay, so this is the thing. My mom made homemade chicken soup. Let me show you the video, okay? Because she asked me, hey, Tanya, do you want to bring the homemade chicken soup for lunch? And I said, well, of course I do. But this is what happened. I took out every single cooked carrot in that bowl of soup. What do you think about that, Eric?
No, see, okay, I don't like cooked carrots either, but I can get through that because of all the other good stuff in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, Maddie?
Only if they're cooked?
I do not like cooked carrots. Yeah, they have a weird taste to me.
I mean, it's your soup, Tanya. You do you.
Okay, so here it goes. I'm wondering if the 4 to 5 viewers have the same thing. You can let us know on our Facebook stream if you do this kind of thing as well.
Yeah, I feel like there are some moms out there that would just say, be an adult and eat the carrots, Tanya. I'm not saying that. I just feel like some people will.
I got a lot of those kinds of comments on Twitter when I posted this, and on Facebook. Some people, though, saying they do a lot of the same thing. But a lot of folks said this. What about your eyes, Tanya? What about the carrots in your eyes? So this is what I'm telling you. Yes, under certain conditions, eating carrots will help your eyesight. The body uses beta-carotene to make vitamin A. But scientificamerican.com said this too. Vitamin A helps the eye convert light into a signal that can be transmitted to the brain, allowing people to see under conditions of low light. But most experts say binging on carrots, that is not going to help your eyesight. Your body will absorb the vitamin A better if you take a vitamin. And if you really want to eat something that will help your eyes, you know what they say? Green leafy veggies like spinach, kale, or collard greens, which are full of lutein, are the best. We'll be back.
You know, moms everywhere love to connect and share ideas and strategies because they have to balance so many things in their lives. There's a new podcast that you do not want to miss. It features all the mom topics that you will ever want. I spoke to Laura Dydek this morning about the Triad Moms on the Mic podcast. Well, Laura, this sounds like so much fun. I know when you guys all get together, it's probably more like a party. But let's talk a little bit about the podcast. How did it all come about?
Adam from Triad Podcast Network reached out to Katie and Rachel, the co-founders of Triad Moms on Main, and asked if we'd be interested in doing a podcast. And it kind of developed from there. And Katie and Rachel reached out to a few people who have been working with Triad Moms on Main and thought would be interested in something like this. And turns out we all said yes. So there were 4 of us, which might be a little much for a podcast, but we have a blast.
I'm sure it's a ton of fun. And when you get a bunch of moms together in a room and the ideas start flowing, I'm sure there are hilarious stories. Like, explain or describe what an episode would be like.
We've done episodes about racism. We've done episodes about what we're watching on TV. It really just varies. And we try to keep it current and things that other moms would be interested in. But yeah, so we like you said, we get a little off topic sometimes, but we try to stay close to what our topic is.
So when all is said and done, what do you want moms to take away from this?
I think mostly that they're not alone. We try to keep it super real in our conversations and talk about what we're truly going through. And a lot of the times, Laura S. will say something and Coda will say, oh my gosh, me too. And Kelly will think, me too. And truly, we just hope that moms know that we're all going through this together and you're not alone.
It's perfect. We can't wait to tune in. Laura, thanks so much. Best of luck with this. You guys are doing a great job. So if you want to hear more about the podcast, we've linked you to their website from ours. Just go to WFNYnews2.com, look for the story. They said that really they never know which direction it's going to go. They kind of just go wherever the conversation takes them. And they said sometimes we get off on crazy tangents and it ends up being more fun than what we planned.
And here's what I love about this. One of the moms had her baby with her while she was recording the podcast. I mean, that's reality right there. And Tahisha, you know, we're not moms yet, but I love how these other moms are paving the way for us to just be able to be real. Life isn't perfect. Motherhood is not always going to look perfect, and they're eliminating that stigma.
Yeah, and I feel like this could almost be something that moms to be could listen to, or people who are planning to be a mom or want to be a mom. So then you kind of know a little bit about what you're getting yourself into, right? And on the topic of not being able to stay on topic, that's what happens when you get all your girlfriends together. You start here and you're going to end here, but then you go up and down and around until you get there, maybe.
I think that's also what happens on the 4 to 5 sometimes, guys. It does, yeah.
Yes.
Again, that's what happens when you get all of your friends together. Aww,
exactly.
Sweet Friday moment. I can't even speak anymore. All right. We're heading to break. The 4 to 5 will be right back. Stick around.
Tomorrow, you might see a lot of people out and about in downtown Greensboro. There's going to be a unity prayer parade for people to pray for transformation in the city, nation, and world. WFMY News 2's Candace Red has more on what you can expect.
Hundreds to thousands of people are expected to participate in a unity prayer parade. The purpose is to bring the community together to pray for a number of pressing issues across the country. Well, Minister Frank Mickens is one of the organizers. May you please tell us a little bit more about the prayer walk?
Absolutely. So we want to get together around the name of Jesus Christ, the person of Jesus Christ. We believe that God really knew what he was saying when he said in Isaiah 26 that we should have a strong city and that salvation should be the walls around our city, that what God has done through Jesus should protect us and guide us and give us ideas about how we should operate together among each other. And we're going to get together, we're going to do praise and worship, we're going to walk around downtown Greensboro, and we're going to come back and worship more and take communion together just to get that unity spirit back.
And due to the COVID-19 pandemic, what safety and health precautions will be in place, if any?
Yeah, we certainly want people to feel comfortable. We want people to be safe. We're going to ask everyone to wear a mask. We're going to ask people to abide by the 6 feet distant social distancing guidelines. If someone arrives and they don't have a mask, we will have plenty of masks available to hand out to those people. And we're going to reiterate as we walk as well to keep social distance so that we can make sure people are comfortable and they don't have that distraction as we pray.
May you please explain the route as well as the focus of the prayers?
You know, the route is really exciting. We're going to start here at Governmental Plaza. This is the gate, is what it's called. And we believe as a gate city, we can be an open door to God. And that's one of the things we're going to pray. And we're going to circle downtown Greensboro. We're going to hit the International Civil Rights Center Museum. We're going to go down South Elm Street. We're going to go to Gate City Boulevard and Eugene Street Bridge. Also past the law enforcement, Greensboro Police Department, the Sheriff's Department, praying for all of these different things, businesses, civic leaders, political leaders. We're going to pray for educators and our children, and these different spots on the map will be representative of the people we'll be praying for.
Once again, Minister Frank Mickens, thank you so much for your time. We do appreciate you. And now I do want you to take a look at your screen because I want to make sure you have all of the details. Again, the Unity Prayer Parade will be held tomorrow. That's at 2 p.m. It starts and ends at the Governmental Plaza in downtown Greensboro. As always, for more details, head over to our website, WFMYnews2.com.
Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I want to say I still need time cues, just not cues to go, Matt. Okay. Okay, great.
Yeah, they're doing mic checks. Let me know when you guys can hear me. And please, I didn't get maybe adequate cues last hit, so if I could just get cues before and all that stuff, before and after, all that good stuff, I'd appreciate it. Happy Friday. Thank you so much.
Hey, where do I need to be, and do I need to drag something over, a vert or something? Okay.
Hi, hello. I think governmental sounds wrong for a plaza. It should be government plaza, but that's just me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It just sounds dumb. All right, great.
Hi, Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii. So the changes.
Can I talk to you for a moment about something serious? Biscuits. Yes, someone made the mistake in the newsroom today talking about biscuits, and that got me going. So then I decided I'm going to do you a favor. I did some biscuit history research for all of you good Southerners out there, and if you're transplants, then here's something you need to know if you're going to live in the South. Biscuit history. Here we go. The term biscuit, I found out, was actually coined by the British. It was, in their terms, it was a little cookie-like pastry they would eat with tea. Not what we eat in the South, right? So it's changed a lot. Now, in the pre-Civil War days in the South, biscuits were apparently delicacies because flour was tough to get, so a lot of times only the affluent would have a biscuit. Kind of crazy to think about. Now, apparently there's something, and I don't know how you make this, but I'd never heard of it till today. It's called a beaten biscuit. Basically, biscuit was a little flatter, not so light and flaky and fluffy like we like them now. They were designed that way on purpose so that they would keep all day. So you could toss it in the kids' lunch pail and it would be okay. You could put it in the overall pocket while you're working out on the farm. It could be a good snack. The beaten biscuit. Then the sweet potato biscuit. Now that was a thing because flour was expensive at times in the South and it was hard to get. And sweet potatoes were in abundance, so the sweet potato biscuit came around. But today, they are the light, flaky, buttery, mouth-watering treat that we love. We do everything with biscuits in the South. We make it a dessert, we make it a sandwich, we eat it plain or with honey. The biscuit is as Southern as anything there is in the South. Now you know, you're welcome. I'm a wealth of knowledge about biscuits. That's just my 2 cents. And that's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts now.
Just days after the first presidential debate and a few in-person campaign rallies, President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump have tested positive for coronavirus.
White House officials say both are in good spirits despite displaying mild symptoms. Now, here is what we know. The Trumps tested positive after one of the president's aides, Hope Hicks, tested positive on Wednesday. President Trump's son Barron has tested negative for the virus. The White House says